The luxury apartment building gleamed in the morning sun, its polished brass and glass facade reflecting wealth and privilege. I adjusted my designer blazer, Armani, though I doubted my sister-in-law Caroline would notice or care, and approached the front entrance. "Excuse me," the doorman called out, clearly following Caroline's instructions. "Deliveries through the service entrance, please." I smiled, remembering the email I'd received just hours earlier about this very building's mounting debt. "I'm here to see Caroline Thompson. I'm her sister-in-law." His expression didn't change. "Yes, ma'am. Service entrance is around back." Of course. Heaven forbid Caroline's cleaning lady, which is what she told everyone I was, be seen using the main entrance of her precious building. If she only knew I owned the bank that held her mortgage. "Very well," I said quietly, turning toward the alley that led to the service entrance. My Louboutins clicked against the concrete, each step fueling my satisfaction about what was coming. The service entrance was exactly what you'd expect: utilitarian, gray, hidden from the view of the building's wealthy residents. A fitting metaphor, really, for how Caroline and my brother James had treated me for the past decade. "You're late," Caroline snapped as she opened the door, her designer kaftan floating around her like an overpriced cloud. "The bathroom needs attention and we're having guests for dinner." I stepped into their penthouse apartment, taking in the expensive furnishings that were all leveraged to the hilt. The art on the walls copies, though Caroline claimed they were originals. The antique vases reproductions she'd bought at auction, passing them off as authentic. "Actually," I said, setting my briefcase on their marble counter, "I'm not here to clean." Caroline's perfectly Botoxed forehead attempted to furrow. "What do you mean? James said you needed the work. After that embarrassing business with your investment company failing." Yes, the story James had spread through the family. His little sister's failed attempt at finance, now reduced to cleaning houses. He'd conveniently left out the part where my failed company had been acquired for 8 figures, allowing me to quietly buy into one of the largest banking conglomerates in the country. About that, I opened my briefcase, extracting a folder. "We need to discuss your mortgage." "My mortgage?" She laughed, the sound as fake as her designer bags. "Why would I discuss my mortgage with the help?" "Because," I said, laying out the documents, "First Metropolitan Bank is calling in your loan. All of them, actually." The color drained from her face as she recognized the bank's letterhead. "What are you talking about?" "We have an arrangement with First Metropolitan." "Had an arrangement," I corrected. "The bank's new ownership has different policies regarding high-risk borrowers." "New ownership?" Her voice rose an octave. "Since when?" "Since I bought controlling interest 6 months ago." The sound of breaking ceramic drew our attention. James stood in the doorway, the remains of his coffee mug scattered at his feet. "Elena." His voice cracked. "What are you doing here?" "Hello, brother dear," I smiled. "I was just explaining to Caroline about the changes at First Metropolitan. You know, the bank holding your numerous mortgages, business loans, and..." I checked the papers. Quite a few personal loans as well." James stepped forward, his expensive loafers crunching on ceramic shards. "This is some kind of joke." "No joke," I said, laying out more documents. "First Metropolitan Bank, under my leadership, is reviewing all its high-risk portfolios. Your loans, well, let's just say they don't meet our new standards." But you're a cleaning lady," Caroline sputtered. I raised an eyebrow. "Am I? Or is that just what you wanted to believe because it made you feel superior?" The penthouse's air conditioning hummed quietly as James and Caroline struggled to process what was happening. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, the city sprawled below, a city where I now controlled more real estate than they could imagine. "This is impossible," James finally managed. "The cleaning service was a convenient story you made up," I finished for him. "Tell me, did it make you feel better spreading rumors about my failed business? Did it help your ego to tell everyone your little sister was scrubbing toilets?" Caroline sank onto their Italian leather sofa, her kaftan deflating around her. "The loans, how much?" "Let's see." I consulted the papers with exaggerated care. The penthouse mortgage $4.2 million outstanding. The Hamptons house $6.8 million. James's business loans $12 million. Personal loans, credit lines, and various other debts. Altogether, you owe my bank approximately $28 million. We can work something out, James said quickly, his sales persona emerging. Elena, we're family. Family. I laughed, but there was no warmth in it. Was it family when you told potential investors my company was failing? When you spread rumors that drove away my clients? When you let your wife treat me like a servant? Caroline flinched. We didn't. No. I supplied. Of course not. You never bothered to check. It was easier to believe I'd failed than to admit I might succeed without James's help. I pulled out another document, their complete financial profile. Your debt-to-income ratio is abysmal. Your business is hemorrhaging money. You've been borrowing from one bank to pay another for years. Did you really think it could last forever? James loosened his tie, sweat beading on his forehead. What do you want? Want? I raised an eyebrow. I don't want anything. This is just business. First Metropolitan is calling in your loans. All of them. You have 48 hours to pay in full. 48 hours? Caroline's voice rose to a shriek. That's impossible. We don't have that kind of liquid capital. No, I agreed, you don't. Which means bankruptcy is your only option. Unless. They leaned forward desperately. Unless. James prompted. Unless you agree to my terms. I pulled out another folder. This one containing their salvation and their humiliation all in one. First Metropolitan will refinance your loans with some conditions. 1. You step down from your company, James. It'll be absorbed into our business division. 2. This penthouse and the Hamptons house are sold to cover part of your debt. 3. You both sign a public statement acknowledging your financial mismanagement. Public statement? Caroline looked faint. But our reputation will match reality for once, I finished. No more pretending to be wealthier than you are. No more living on borrowed money and borrowed time. James was reading through the refinancing terms, his face growing paler by the minute. These interest rates are actually quite generous considering your credit risk, I said. Oh, and one more thing, you'll both need to find new employment. Fortunately, First Metropolitan has some entry-level positions available. In the mailroom. The mailroom. Caroline stood up, outrage overtaking fear. Do you know who we are? Yes, I said calmly. You're desperate borrowers who've been living beyond your means for years. And now you work for me. Well, assuming you accept the terms. Otherwise, bankruptcy proceedings begin tomorrow. My phone buzzed, a text from my CFO. Thompson Industries stock dropping on rumors of financial trouble. Want me to start acquisition talks? Not yet, I typed back. Let them sweat a little first. James was still reading the documents, his hands shaking. Elena, please. We can figure something else out. Like what? I asked. Going to run to Mom and Dad? They're already on my board of directors. Did you really think I'd leave any escape routes? Caroline had moved to the window, staring out at the city she thought she owned. All those charity boards, my social position, will have to be earned rather than bought, I said. Novel concept, I know. My phone buzzed again, this time from building management. New entrance protocols in effect as requested. Oh, by the way, I added, gathering my papers, I've instructed the doorman that you'll be using the service entrance from now on. The front door is for residents who actually pay their bills. The poetic justice wasn't lost on anyone. You're enjoying this, James accused. Enjoying watching your perfectly crafted facade crumble? Watching you realize that your failed sister now owns your fate. I smiled. Yes, I rather am. Standing up, I straightened my blazer. You have until tomorrow morning to decide. Bankruptcy or employment, your choice. Though I should mention the bankruptcy option includes a full audit of your finances. I'm sure the IRS would be very interested in some of your creative accounting. Caroline whirled around. You wouldn't. Try me, I said softly. I've spent years watching you two look down on me, treat me like a servant, spread rumors about my failures. Now you get to experience what real failure feels like. My phone buzzed one final time, my driver announcing he was waiting outside. The service entrance, of course. Don't forget to sign in with security when you start work on Monday, I called over my shoulder. The mailroom opens at 7 a.m. sharp. Late arrivals are noted in your personnel file. As I walked toward the service entrance for the last time, I heard Caroline burst into tears and James swearing under his breath. Music to my ears. Outside, my driver held the door of my Bentley. "Productive meeting, Miss Thompson?" "Very," I replied, though I think my brother and his wife might need to update their resumes. "Their loss, your gain?" Something like that. I pulled out my phone one last time, sending a message to my assistant. "Schedule a press release for Monday." Title: First Metropolitan Bank announces management changes at Thompson Industries. And Sarah? Make sure it mentions the new mailroom staff. As we pulled away from the building using the main driveway, naturally, I caught a glimpse of James and Caroline watching from their window. By this time next week, they'd be moving out of that penthouse, trading their designer clothes for business casual, learning how to sort mail for a living. The best revenge I'd discovered wasn't just success. It was success combined with the perfect opportunity to show your doubters exactly who they'd been looking down on. My phone started buzzing with messages. Other banks suddenly interested in selling their Thompson Industries debt, social climbers trying to distance themselves from James and Caroline, charity boards quietly asking about their pledges. The house of cards was falling and I had front row seats. Another text from my CFO. Thompson Industries stock down 40%. Ready to start acquisition talks now? I smiled, typing back, "Not yet. Let's wait until they're sorting mail in our basement. Then we'll buy their company for pennies on the dollar." Success, like karma, is a dish best served cold. And sometimes the best way to serve it is through the service entrance. One final reminder of how far they'd fallen and how high I'd risen. As for James and Caroline, well, I hear the mailroom has excellent opportunities for advancement. In about 20 years. After all, everyone has to start somewhere. Even if that somewhere is at the bottom of the corporate ladder they thought they owned. Welcome to my world, dear family. The service entrance is around back.